Hey there, Shop Talk. I encourage you to pull up the YouTube to watch like a minute, get us a view. But the hair situation,
Yeah,
is especially. I don't know, man. It's this radical wave. It's about 3 inches off the top of my head, straight up. One side's matted down. I think that's from sleeping. But
yeah.
yeah,
That's just your natural, no product.
no product. This is just waking up. This is coming to work. It's a little floofier actually if I shower. So this is like a no shower sitch. So
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know how to control it. I'm not in charge. That's the fun part. Is like I'm just not responsible for what the hair is doing. You know. So
That's pretty good. Pretty good.
yeah, man. Well, hey, what's happening, Chris? Anything exciting?
Well, I
exciting?
don't know. Nothing. These come around pretty quick. They come around every week. These shows. Turns out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
You're like,
we're gonna
Thursday
holy
already,
cow.
or whatever.
Yeah,
Spoiler:
totally.
we record these on Thursday.
That's when I got two things to do every week. Fill up my little pill thing, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
Ooh,
Thursday,
okay. Yeah.
and then record the show. And those are my weeklies.
Smart.
So we
Yeah.
thought we'd do some questions, just because
Classic.
I don't think we were littered with news this week. It was maybe a slow news week for web stuff.
Yeah. Safari 26 came out, so that's a thing that you can get.
Yeah,
now. A lot
that's
of
true.
stuff
I
in
did.
there. So, kind of cool. There's a few. I've noticed some people, especially web components, adopted style sheets, anchor positions, hitting bugs. We've actually filed some, and they've been fixed, but not out yet. So that's cool. Like that's progress, but it'll take whatever a cycle to release or whatever. But anyway, it's cool. So
I haven't looked
don't
at
know.
all the
There's some
Safari
good stuff
stuff.
in there.
That'll be good because it came out because you probably get it alongside. If you want, do you need to upgrade to OS 26 to get Safari 26?
You don't.
You don't.
What
Okay.
I got on actually not on this computer yet. Sequoia 15.8 I think came out, and so or 15.7, yeah.
Okay.
15.7 came out, and that I think has it. But then, yeah, Tahoe's also on the
Right.
on the old installed bucket.
I guess I don't
too,
hate that
so.
the OS is just the year now. That'll be easier for my brain. Although, of course, it's a year ahead like cars are. Like, it's not actually 26 yet. So, what,
Oh, good
okay.
point. Oh, now I'm mad. Yeah. What? Why?
Yeah. Well, they just do that. It's like when used to get a magazine in the mail and it was always like way months ahead. You're like, okay.
I guess if you're going to release in the latter half of a year, you don't want people to be like...
to make it feel old in February or whatever.
Yeah, when it's June of 25, your thing feels old, right?
That's I'm surely exactly what it is.
Some psychology. Okay. Whatever. I've got bigger problems in my life than the year being 3 months off.
No, but and it's so it's the glass one or whatever, and I didn't do any special changes to it or anything, but I'm like, do you remember it's still a little hot on the web, but it just is a pretty common approach to do the 1 pixel embossing to anything pretty much, buttons and cards and whatever. And that's the main aesthetic here yes, there's some liquidy stuff in there, but mostly you're just like looking at your notifications, you're looking at the widgets on your iOS, you're looking at the icons, and all of them absolutely everywhere have that 1 pixel embossing thing. It looks like it's a little sensitive to the direction you're holding your phone to. I didn't realize they were going to do that. Like as you tilt your phone around, as I'm doing here, the embossing on the buttons moves around as well.
Okay.
It's a little bit neat, but you're a little bit like, are you using my battery for that? Because I really don't care.
They are using. There's a GPU in there, maybe. So maybe the GPU's got it. Hopefully,
I'm sure it's efficient, but
yeah,
that it's too much of that. Like it's not. I was a little bored of it on the web at some point, and now it's all over my phone, and it's absolutely everywhere. It's not just like a little bit there. It's everywhere. So I'm just a little over it already, I guess, as an aesthetic. It's just guaranteed to me looking at it that pretty early. It's like
we're like 4 days.
I think you can go into the accessibility and turn down some of it. Fine.
Yeah.
I'll probably just roll it by default just because I'm a use the defaults kind of guy when I can be. So whatever. I don't have any super deep thoughts on it. Only that I look at this, I'm like, there's no way in tarnation that the next release of this isn't going to tone this down. It's just not going to happen. It will be toned down, I promise.
Yeah. Little hot drama over here on the Alistair.is blog.
Uh-huh.
How would you feel, Chris, if I told you there was WebKit only or Apple only properties in CSS shipped to support?
I wouldn't love it, probably.
Because there was Apple visual effect : Apple system glass material.
Really, and you can use it on the web.
Yeah, I'm not. I need to read more closely. I think it's maybe an in-app view only thing, if that makes sense. So they can recreate web views with this. But I'm not sure if it's in the big boy Safari. So,
I mean, the danger in this is that it's really cool and popular, and that authors start to use it, and that they don't think about fallbacks, and it makes the web worse. Like, that's the risk, to be clear, when companies do this kind of thing. It happened with WebKit Box Reflect. That was a hot little wet floor aesthetic thing for Apple, and they just shipped it or whatever. And they're as far as I know, still the only ones that support
WebKit Box Reflect.
Yeah, it's cheesy. It's just a cheesy looking effect now.
The best, you mean? I think is it is.
But nobody else supports it. But that one,
so wet. Remember wet websites, dude? Are we back? We are back, dude. Websites are so wet right now. Oh,
I watched a freaking video this morning of what if American Psycho only wet? And it's just some bros that got together and reshot some scenes from American Psycho, but everything is drenched. Oh. Their bodies are drenched.
Oh, yeah, that's where we're headed, dude.
It's such a weird aesthetic.
This is just the moist era of web design. We are so moist right now.
But I mean, imagine that box reflect. It doesn't matter if there's no box reflection. It literally doesn't matter. That one it didn't hurt or help anything really. Whereas if you made a card and the only aesthetic you're relying on is this weird property that makes it look like a liquid glass card instead, and you didn't set a background and you didn't set a color, and it did too much CSS in for you, and then that's what you shipped, and you're like, whatever, this is just for Safari, that's what I use, and it led to an inaccessible design. This is theoretical. I don't know if this is the actual situation, but that's why we don't let browsers do that. Because you don't want to get into the situation where authors are making bad choices with technology that only one of the browsers supports. Anyway.
Yeah, what's interesting is this blog post. I'm going to read one paragraph and you tell me what it sounds like. Yeah. So, it says, yes, it works, and no, we can't. So before you, like me, fire up Safari and start editing CSS, I have bad news. No, it doesn't work on the web. As well, it shouldn't, but it also doesn't work by default in an app using WK Web View. You have to toggle it in a setting in a WK preferences setting called Use System Appearance, and it's private. So it's a private variable inside WK Web View. So if
all that makes sense. That makes me feel
goodbye to App Store approval. So anyway, so you could in theory,
absolutely, who cares? That's what that makes me feel like. What's the point where he's mad about it then? Just because?
I think the last man, you're reading ahead. The last heading on the blog post is "Who cares?" So it's just basically some trivia, but the thing is, Apple for themselves has invented some CSS to apply this effect onto web views. So that's and it's not a public thing for everybody thing. So
does it show up in DevTools?
No, maybe. Well, if you're able to inspect the app, which you kind of
probably can't,
right? Like all
right, this is really, really, really trivia then. I'm sure other browsers have done much worse.
Well, I was thinking the other day, I just, not to turn this into a liquid glass conversation, but I was actually building a little camera app, right? Like I think I showed it to you because it was in that bug report I filed to CodePen. But on the back of an old camera, like a Pentax or whatever, like there's always like a little circle that was made of glass or plastic glass, and it would tell you the number of shots left in the camera.
Sure. Yeah, one of those still.
Okay,
we have an
so
Instamax camera that does that now. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so like it's a very like, if you're like making a camera, you wouldn't think like, oh, I need that like little detail to make it feel real, right? And then I made it and I made a rounded circle. It's the shape is correct, but the material is wrong. Does that make sense? Like it doesn't have the not liquid glass. I kind of just want shitty plastic glass is the effect I want, but like how do
I see. So how is probably like SVG filter or something.
Yeah, maybe I can tweak it or mess with it, but like I just think I was kind of just like, why don't we have materials on the web yet? Like why don't we have glass, fire, water, wood, leather, like why I felt like we were on a course, like at least some Adobe stuff had like proposed like using these filters and stuff like that, like expanding filters on the web, but we don't have like materials like that on the web where you do in like 3D graphic design, right? Like you do in Blender or video games. You can just like drag a material on an object and it'll like look like that material, right? And it has the various luminosity properties and things like that. So anyway, I guess that was a thought. That was my only thought. I'm out of thoughts. Why don't we have it? I'm not necessarily asking for it, but I wonder what happened there. Why don't we have kind of like a plastic effect? And because I can recreate it with, like you're saying, SVG filters. I can recreate it with, a bunch of divs and things like that. But like, ideally I wouldn't. Ideally I could be like, make this look like plastic, and some sort of GPU comes over and skins it,
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe material's so light dependent it doesn't matter because we don't really have light on the web, right? So
yeah, I just can't see it happening.
You don't think so, huh?
Probably not. It's a little too aesthetic or something that they try to stay away from a little bit. Although I say that and I don't know, it's more about removing appearance than adding it. What I was thinking there is appearance : base, which is like coming to forms, but all browsers basically need to ship it exactly the same. So there needs to be agreement amongst browsers on the aesthetics of what it's going to look like, which is a kind of an unusual situation because I've definitely seen in specs before where the spec part doesn't say what it should look like. Not really. Like I think famously for date pickers and stuff, it's like the spec just says, and then the OS shows a date picker or something, and the OS,
yeah, the spec is like themselves. I'm not touching that. I'm not doing anything with that. Yeah.
So there's that. Cool. All right. What do you want to do? A question here?
Oh yeah, I'm just gonna throw in. Maybe I should collect these links. I maybe need to do a blog post like what happened to materials. I want my materials. Damn it, that's gonna be my blog
I want
post.
My materials. Damn it. Okay.
Yeah, that's good, right?
I'll read your fleshed out thought here. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So anyway, it starts with this Alistair blog post, but then I found the there used to be this Adobe open source Adobe thing. So if my Adobe friends who work there, used to work there, could tell me some inside stuff, that would be cool. But yeah, there was like a whole thing about CSS shaders. Can't find that page. Boo. CSS filters proposal. We do have filter and we do have sepia and things like that, but we don't have anything else, right? So
right. You're thinking more of like sepia. One-liner materials.
Well, it used to be like almost like a. Remember the like HTC files for like Clearfix HTC, like you could like almost like link to a like you could almost link to like a vertex shader, and be like, this is paper, and
that's
it curls.
A weird blast of the past. I mean, I'm sure I never understood it at the time. I was too young and dumb. But yeah, I do remember that Clearfix HTC file. That's whack.
Oh yeah, welcome to my world.
Not that it was
the brain. This little tin can's full of all kinds of funny coins. I tell you what, and they just rattle around. Just a little.
It's just a rare one to trot out. People like to trot out like Cipher and stuff like that, but that was you'd see that a little more often.
Yeah, Cipher, Kufon, got again. These little pesos, these little coins I collected from all over the world, are just rattling around.
That was a funny technology. Anybody that used it knew it wasn't a good idea, but we just did it anyway because we wanted it so bad.
Yeah. Was that? Wait, there was one too was that the one that maybe the HTC one was to make transparent PNGs work in like IE5? Was that it? Was that the one?
Oh yeah, it was not the clear
right?
fix. It was a PNG fix.
PNG fix, yeah. Oh wow, here I am.
Well, I'm glad we got through that.
Heavy dose of nostalgia.
Of emails.
I'm gonna be. I'm like high for the rest of the day with this boost of nostalgia.
That's exactly what it was. Yeah, and other browsers would just ignore it. But
PNG fix, love it, dude.
Oh my god! Now people, if we had that in CSS, now people would be putting Bitcoin miners in there.
Oh, I'm sure it's the Bitcoin miner now. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, this Sam Beal writes, totally topic change. Here we go. Sam Beal says, I know how fond of TypeScript you are, but I don't even know what that means.
Sorry, what show? Sorry. So you're looking for syntax.fm. So you went to the wrong URL.
My feelings are still very nuanced on this, but I'm actually mostly a fan, for the record. What do you think are the...
No, so Theo is a YouTuber. So you have to go. Yeah, Theo's on YouTube. So go to his YouTube. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay, so Sam's asking about like greenfield stuff. Like if you're going to fire off a new project, what are the advantages of using TypeScript like in a prototype? Like, is it too soon? Is that like premature optimization for it or what?
I don't think so. I think it could help actually. Like if you're like, I'm making a site about dogs. Let's blog for dogs, right? But you have to create a user profile as a dog, and so you have to.
Oh my god! Then at that point, I tend to agree with you. Now you have a data structure, and now you definitely need TypeScript.
Right. So now you have to you have a breed, you have a gender. I guess dogs have gender, but then that's confusing to me. And then you have name, whatever, chip ID or whatever you want, right? Like so, you have that data there, and then and so when you like operate on the blog for dogs on the build a profile screen, you could like easily sort of like reference that data schema that you set up. So I think it could actually help. And then you deploy to Dino, and Dino doesn't care. Dino runs TypeScript. So maybe that works for you. Maybe that's a really easy way to get going. So, but
lovely.
I don't know. You can also just use JSDoc in a JS file, and then you didn't have to install tsconfigs and tsc and tsgo and ts.
Yeah, you can't avoid talking about that. That's a way, because that doesn't require a build step, or it kind of does, because now you have all these freaking comments all over that you kind of want to get gone out of your production JavaScript, which is a build step anyway, which is like But yeah, the build step thing is a big deal to me. Like if it's now you're spending time on your build process and your CI and crap instead of your thing, I don't like that. So I think it's a detriment to your prototype. But I think AI comes into this conversation, like it or not. I think a project that's using JSDoc or TypeScript well and all over the place helps an AI understand what's going on and work on it better. I think that's a thing.
I think that's true. I think it's if it's able to reason about the types,
totally. Like, and that's not theoretical. Time. It just will. That build process stuff is actually getting less and less in regard to TypeScript. It was actually it's a little while ago now, a few months ago at least, that I wrote TypeScript without build tools because I was surprised at how many things now where you just don't even deal with it. Like you're in Dino or whatever, or Node now has the stuff where you just have TS files, and it's just like, okay, I know what you mean. I'll get it into JavaScript before I deal with it. Largely by virtue of ES build, which just, it's not TSC. It's like a really fast version of just like doing as absolutely little work as possible to get TS into JS, essentially. And it doesn't even report if there's a problem. It doesn't even care. It just chews through it and just does it. Like if you have a problem in your TypeScript, that becomes your problem. But that's true. It's like a Cloudflare worker, for example. They have a deployment process. You can just send up TypeScript. They don't care. Just send up TypeScript. More and more products and companies are just helping you do that. Astro, for example, you want to just import TS and TXX files. You just do that. You don't have to think about it. It's not like I need to adjust my build process to make sure my TypeScript is processed. We do at CodePen because it's complicated and it's a big project and stuff. Next is the same way. You can write in TypeScript optionally. It's not like this big choice you have to make and it comes with a bunch of technical debt. If you're working in a Next project, you can just write TypeScript. It will just accept that in the same way it accepts JavaScript.
Yeah.
Nux too. It's across the board in the framework land. They don't care if you write in TypeScript.
Was this on the blog? This is on the blog. Or, Front-End Masters?
I'll share the link with it.
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
Dino, Bun is the way. Workers is the way. Vite is that way. ES Build sucks it down. Parcel supports TypeScript. There's so many projects that just don't care about it and don't put the DX onus on you to deal with. That's my whole point.
Yeah, I feel like Vite really pioneered that, right? Like it was just kind of like, we do TypeScript. We'll figure it out. Like, right. And they do that specific kind of TypeScript, right? Where it's just like filter out, like there's no validation building, right?
None.
And so TSC
TypeScript
build
will turn a head of
than...
lettuce into JavaScript, because we were trying to figure this out on CodePen about like what we really want. We need to be showing you errors. It's a user expectation that writing TypeScript is going to be like showing you problems in your TypeScript. So what do we do if we want TypeScript to be faster, or a user specifically picks ES Build as one of their processors or something? It's like, crap, we still kind of need to use TSC because it's the only thing that reports actual problems in your TypeScript. Something like ES Build, or Vite uses ES Build, right? Until they replace it with their own thing or whatever.
Yeah.
You don't get any information at all. And then you're like, well, when does TypeScript fail? Like, at what point can you write some TypeScript that doesn't turn into JavaScript, that there's no resulting file? Like in Sass or something, it's so easy. Like any little missing semicolon or something, Sass is like, nope, abort, can't do it, failure.
Yeah.
Do not ES Build processing TypeScript. It will just do anything. You could have the most malformed crap in the world and it will at least attempt to do it.
Yeah, ES Build's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's
and that's what powers
a useful feature.
That's a good point. Yeah. No, yeah, I mean, and it does look like they're kind of doing their own thing, right? Or OXC, but that's from the Void Zero folks. Yeah, no, I think there's kind of like I think there's, I want to be pragmatic. I think they're super useful, like, reasons. I think there is a tipping point where it's like, I'm doing so much to make this thing happy, and I'm pouring so much cement and glue all over this thing to, like, do, like, union types, triple undefined, that's where it starts rubbing against me. I can tell you, once a week, somebody's like, oh man, we have to do this because of TypeScript. And I'm like, I've got an idea that lets you not have to do that, So I want to call that out is like, people, when they get into TypeScript, they are doing things to appease TypeScript, the compiler or the filter, or just the squigglies to make squigglies happy. So, it's not like a level 9,000 problem, but it changes the shape of your API. So, or the design of your code or how things work together. So,
right. I'm a little attracted to the and I don't know, morbid relationship with generator type stuff where you're like, well, just because in our app, it can be so useful and such a pain in the butt. But for example, you have like a GraphQL schema, and it's like you need to have one of those for a GraphQL API anyway. But because you have one and you've like defined these data shapes in that way once, it's nice to not have to then rewrite them in TypeScript because that's a different language. So there's generators that be like, oh, I see what you're doing in GraphQL. Let me make a bunch of types for you in this other language too, which are importable and usable there. And it's when it all is working nicely, it's really nice because you're like, I have this dog object as you put or whatever. I just have that, and it automatically stays in sync with the database essentially because it's kind of a schema defined in one place. And now I basically have 3 places from the GraphQL layer to the database layer to the TypeScript layer that's typed all the way down and it's maintained in one place. That's like kind of compelling, you know?
Is it really maintained in one place?
It is. It is.
Because you're not doing like some like Rails schema, you're not then some like TypeScript thing, and then you're doing some Zod crap, and then you're doing some.
Well, yeah. Well, okay. Well, if you say that,
it's not in one place. It's never in one place. But
it's surprisingly,
theory,
a lot of it is. Yeah.
In theory, you have a tool that describes the shape of a data object, and that can be useful. It's actually really useful I found in refactoring, whether that's just putting JS doc types or, because you're like, this function takes this and it spits out this. Like that contract is cool. Like to me, that's helpful. I think where it's, and then there's occasionally too, like where it's like, oh, TypeScript will be like, actually, dude, that can be undefined, like you didn't, it can be a number or undefined. And then, so you have to handle that use case as well. Right. So that there are times where that saves your bacon. So, but beyond that, I don't find it very, where it's like, oh, that's not a mouse event. That's just a native event. Well,
that stuff is.
It could be.
I'm not sure I've ever like.
It could be. It's probably maybe it's a touch event. Maybe it's a pointer event. Who knows, man? Let me code. So.
Well, apparently you don't just outsource 100% of that crap to AI. Oh, do I do that? Yes, I do, because I don't care about TypeScript that much. Yeah.
Whoops. Yeah.
I care more about the idea
What'd you
of
say?
it.
Tab, green block, tab, green block, tab.
Tab. Yeah.
I actually do it. That's a good way to put it. Like I care about the meat in the sandwich, not the bread. I don't care what bread's on it. It's the I care about the meat. So
fix the squiggles. I know enough not to do something really embarrassing in there.
Fix the squiggles.
Yeah. All right. We got another one from or unless you have a final thought here you would like to express.
No, I think we could go to Tibor Leopold's question.
Absolutely.
I can read it. Hi, Dave and Chris and Dave. I'm wondering about strategies you can recommend when it comes to avoiding layout shift when progressively enhancing a page. I find that when building a website with progressive enhancement, there are elements that I only want to show the basic HTML version or I want to show in the basic HTML version or rely on the or only in the enhanced JS version. For example, considering a listing page with a filter form, a basic HTML version, a user makes a selection in the form and clicks submit and updates the list. Not the best experience, but always works. Now we want to make this a bit more modern and use JS Ajax to update the list when the user makes a selection. Now that feels nice and better. But we still have the submit button to make the submit button visible, and I find that confusing as the user might think they still have to click it when they don't. Notice it's already been updated. Also, the original. So kind of like so when I want to hide the button when JS has loaded, right? But my JS could, of course, just delete or hide the button when it runs. But now you get this flash of a button.
I do have a solution for this, actually.
I have one too. I wonder if we have the same one.
Oh yeah, I only just saw this idea recently, or maybe it re-emerged in my world recently. But there's a such thing in HTML called a no script tag. So you can have angle bracket no script, and within the no script you put HTML, right? But within the no script tag, you can put a style tag. So you can put special styles for when JavaScript hasn't loaded.
Nice.
Is not available. So
Yeah.
I think that's the logical leap that you need to hide or show those things in those moments, because you can certainly do it normally and you can do it without JavaScript, but you don't need JavaScript to make that distinction for you, because usually what you do in those situations be put JavaScript equals no or whatever at the HTML level, and then you use JavaScript to remove that class. But that logic requires JavaScript to run, and that causes the flash because it can be delayed, whereas there's no delay on the no script technique.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. No, that would work. I think you're still in a rare chance where the JavaScript has JavaScript's on, but the JavaScript failed. And so now no script never runs,
because JavaScript is available. It just failed because of a network request or a syntax error or something.
Yeah.
That's true. Man, this is nuanced stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. I was thinking I actually kind of don't, I'm tripped up on the if not if kind of logic here, but if you're using web components, there's a feature called
loaded or whatever.
Defined. Yeah.
Defined, yeah.
Defined. But now I think it would still have a flash. But you could be like my input or my filter not defined, show my button, or filter submit, but then that would still fail. But maybe you hide, or you turn the opacity off or whatever, hide it for a bit when it's not defined. And
I know, but for a bit is the hard part, because you don't have a set timeout with no JavaScript,
Yeah, but then in your no script, you just say, that's where you're like, hey, no script, display block,
bring it back.
To bring it back, So if the custom element never gets defined, see, I messed it up. Because if the custom element doesn't get defined,
you don't. You don't almost need to. It's too hard to mouth blog it. We need to write a something spreadsheet that lists all the scenarios, which is JavaScript is off, JavaScript is broken, right? You can do this.
Well, Gina Trapani, she has this cool little. I can bring it up here. She has this cool little tool called Foresight. Did you see it?
No.
She kind of revised her blog, and so I was just clicking around.
I saw that.
All this cool stuff. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to share a tab, a single edge tab, and not get in trouble at work. Here we go. So it's just basically like this, right? So we could be like no JS button, and then yes JS, no JS, no JS,
and then JS
unloaded, loaded, something like that.
I guess that is what it is. So
so now we have we can do some of these. Oh crap, we could do show it, right? We want to show it
when there's no JavaScript.
Oh,
and you want to show it in the orange box too.
Yeah. Don't show it. and show it. Oh, we'll explain this after we've all we've got this right. So JS failed, right? Our JS failed, and this is no JS yet. JS failed, and then don't show it, right?
Don't show it because the JavaScript has loaded now and it's ready to go.
Do you want to don't show it or show it?
Yeah, because this is the hardest box because the
Unloaded
JavaScript might run. It might become loaded. So this is the hard mode one where we're at risk of a flash.
Okay. So in this one, you have to. Okay.
It's tempting to show it and then hide it, but if you show it and then hide it when JavaScript loads, we have this flash, risks flash. So how do we fight the green box's risks flash, which is unloaded, but in a browser that does support JavaScript? That's the tricky part. So now at least we have diagrammed the problem correctly. I feel good about that, although now I'm feeling less sure of a solution to the problem.
Yeah.
Because no script does not save us in this case. You're right. It doesn't save us from an unloaded perspective.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. This is a tough one here. Maybe progressive enhancement's wrong. Let's throw that one. Let's throw that. There's a chance. No. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I feel like there's a way in this puzzle. Maybe Shopomaniacs can swoop in and figure this out.
There is a little bit. So I'll do it one more time with my voice, is that there's this button, a literal button on the screen that is functional, but you only want to see it when as soon as JavaScript is loaded and has executed, you don't want to see this button anymore because there's some alternative JavaScript way of making it work. This button is the fallback button.
Yeah.
But you don't ever want to see it if there's a chance that JavaScript is going to load and be fine. You don't want to see it quick and then have it get removed because it's confusing for users or whatever to see a button that's now gone. The idea is to wait long enough to see if JavaScript is actually going to work or not. But I don't know about the waiting. What do you use? HTML streaming or something to that it's intentionally delayed 2 seconds before that HTML arrives or something.
Yeah, good question. Yeah,
I don't know why this is particularly hard because we're in the middle of a live podcast, but I do think some part of my soul thinks there is actually a good kind of not so complicated solution here. I just can't think of what it is.
Yeah, I mean, so progressive enhancement is not wrong, but it's great at progressive enhancement is great at adding content, but removing content is harder, right? Because you're taking a feature away and asking for it to not change, right? So you're removing versus adding, but it would be, this is pretty good here. And then what was my button or whatever, not defined. You can actually just do this. It's whatever star, if there's any undefined web component, then you could do button.
There's any
display,
undefined.
none,
oh, I see.
Something like that.
You know what I'm also thinking of too? This might be a design problem more than it is a, why does this button need to be hidden? Can it just not be hidden? Can that button when JavaScript runs, can it make that button do whatever the JavaScript thing does? Or can it be, why does that button have to be hidden? Why are the experiences so different? Because progressive enhancement would tell us, hey, that button works in HTML mode. And then when JavaScript runs, it takes over the click handler of that same button and does something with JavaScript. That's a more normal way to think about progressive enhancement. The entire hiding of it is, maybe it has to be that way. I'm just thinking, is there a world in which your button works one way when JavaScript off and another way when JavaScript is on, and that would be okay? You don't have to worry about flashing because you're never hiding it. Maybe.
Yeah. There's a way. I feel like there's a way to do that. Yeah. I just can't brainstorm it right now. So
we'll get there.
I mean, I think, progressive enhancement with that button is always there as an affordance that you can click, right? Like, I don't think, if a user doesn't notice it changing, I don't think it's wrong if they click it and then go, oh, it changed. Oh, but they may be expecting a change or something like that. So,
yeah. Maybe they are. Maybe it's not the biggest problem in the world. I mean, I get the problem that, you look at this button and you go to click it and then it disappears or something. Like, that's not a good user experience. I sort of get it, but maybe, I don't know. I don't know what to say.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. It does. We should probably move on because I bet there is kind of a, where's Jeremy when you need him? He's probably got this all locked and loaded.
If somebody has this answer, share it out. I want to know, say, the button problem. Hashtag the button problem, and we'll figure it out. But anyway, this
would be a good blog post. Okay, pretty good. All right, let's do another one then. Somebody very anonymously wrote in. Their name is I can't have my boss hear this. So that's
okay. All right.
I'm a big advocate. I'm no big advocate for jumping on the latest trendy JavaScript library, but at what point do you decide it's time to rebuild with a new stack? When it doesn't scale anymore, when it's painful to develop new features. For some context, I develop websites for clients, agency work, marketing sites with bespoke code, talks to a CMS. My stack gets the job done for sure, but I know there are more efficient ways to build these days with better DX, scales better, active community, but my way still works. At the moment, I feel like I'm building job security as I'm not using React and Next.js. Thoughts?
Ooh.
That's interesting twist.
Two problems here.
Yeah. I thought you would be like losing job security for not using, React and Next.js, like it or not, however you feel on this, are pretty standard technologies in front-end development these days. Like, I don't care if you actually use them or not, but they're not fly-by-night tools at this point for the record.
Yeah, they have market share, I guess would be a good way to put it, right? Like, I think you could obviously, I feel like it's security either way to know it and to know other stuff, in case the zeitgeist changes, But as far as like, when do you jump? That's a really tough problem. I mean, it's really up to you. I mean, Chris, y'all just switched from like a Rails stack to Go. That was kind of the big one, right? You went from Rails with React to Next and Go kind of.
Yeah, I know it's just for speed and scale reasons. That was pretty more straightforward, though. It's like, you're like, this is slow. This other language is fast. And that matters sort of in like how much data you have perspective and stuff. That's a little more clear cut. Mm-hmm. I'm interested in this question in that, like, if you can't even point at any reason why another stack would be better, then you should not change stack. Like, you can't, it sounds like you can't even come up with one thing. It's like, there are more efficient ways to build. And he said, well, I guess he's with better DX. So do you know that though? Like, do you guarantee that it's better DX?
What's the Adobe database thing that came with Dreamweaver?
Where's your little info nugget now, man?
Come on, brain. You did so well earlier in the show. Raymond Camden used to teach it, or like really be into it. Blurg. I lost all my brain cells. Anyway, let's say you're like bought into some, you're brought in, I can't even like name a like D tier CMS. You're in, what I call it, like Joe Jumbo. What's the mode? Oh my gosh.
Mongo?
Brain. No, yeah, okay. Mongo's a great one. You bought into Mongo, big time, big Mongo, right? Document database, boom. Database is falling over all the time, or sharding's broke, or some, replicating. You lost data.
Fusion?
Cold Fusion is what I wanted.
Oof, got it. Yeah,
I'm out of brain cells here. So anyway, the Cold Fusion. Let's say you bought into Cold Fusion. All in on Cold Fusion, not the best DX, not the most modern thing. Maybe you could actually use MySQL, like that might be or PHP or something. Like maybe there's a better stack out there for that. front end too, like if you're, wow, we're not using anchor position, it would be really cool to do that, or like, should we do that? Or we're using Bootstrap, maybe we don't use Bootstrap anymore, maybe we build our own thing. Cost is a huge thing. Like, it's super expensive to do the rewrite. Talk that over with your bosses, right? For me, it comes down to like technical debt. Like, does your team understand what's in this app? Like, can your team, or are you losing knowledge? Like, as people move on, as people leave the company and new people show up, and you spend like 80 weeks being like, well, it's like this because we have to do this, that, and this,
Yeah.
If you can't even explain your thing to somebody new, it might be time to rework it. It might be time to change it, like change the front end.
If you can't even explain it to someone or hire someone with those same skills, yeah, that's interesting. It's making me think of like how easy certain things get. I think we went through this little revolution in the last little while that where companies like Netlify came along and CMSs like Astro, and you could just go like dum-de-dum, make Astro site, and it wizards out a nice looking site that's ready to work on. And then you just type like Netlify deploy, and then there's a URL on the internet of that site, and you're like, okay, that was pretty good. Like, maybe we should use that to make the site. Because my old way took me about half a day to get to the point where we have a staging deploy of a website, and I just did that in about 30 seconds. So I think there might be some business value there. That's become a little more expected. So if you're not at that kind of, maybe that is important that you're able to move that quickly.
Yeah, I think speed, like a speed of like how fast you can deploy and move, like does that change? I think speed in how like you author too, like like it or not, it says here I work, I make websites for clients, agency work, marketing sites with bespoke code, right? Your enemy, unfortunately, is AI. Like, is somebody, some dude with a Chat GPT account or whatever, right? Like, or a Vercel V0 account. So like, you have to basically like try to think in those terms, like what could speed this up. So there might be a move that you have to think about there from like a production standpoint. You have to think about, like stability. Are things falling over? Like, are you regularly encountering bugs? Maybe you need a new setup for stability, I think those, and then knowledge would be my other,
Yeah.
like,
I wonder if the old thing is WordPress. I'm not sure, but it kind of has a little bit of that feel. And I do kind of still think that WordPress is probably will hang on forever as far as like a, people like to scoff at it. And then some people are like, well, look at all these problems it solves for me. It's got auth built in. I can, set up,
it never gets hacked.
Well, you got that potential issue. Man.
So good at auth. No, yeah, WordPress is probably a great example. I mean, like, theme authoring is clunky, man. Like, unless you have the tools around it, and like, it's clunky. And so, how do you do it good? Like, maybe you need to overhaul your base theme. Maybe that's a baby step, switching to...
There's these problems that it solves really well. And you're like, oh, well, the client all of a sudden needs to sell something. And then you're like, WordPress will rock that idea. You just install WooCommerce or whatever it is on there. And then you do it. But then they're like, well, but it needs to like hit this API for some other data to show. And then you're like, oh, does it though?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, how am I going to do that? Like that, like it's for some things it excels at. Some things suck,
Right. Or it's, I don't think like switching to Craft or Laravel is going to fix that problem really, or like, is going to fix the like, it's difficult or whatever. It's hard to do hard things in here. So, it might be a little bit of a DX improvement, but, probably not enough, yeah. if there's other requirements, list the requirements you're trying to go for, you know. I've seen people like go to the marketing page of the thing they want and take those requirements and then be like, yeah, those are my requirements, or like the sales pitch things, like, oh yeah, those are my requirements too. Mobile first, you know, dark mode. Those are my requirements, you know. You're
like
no, those are just marketing.
in that way.
But like, I would go to like, if you're like internationalizing or something, WordPress can do it. Craft is really good. It's like a first class citizen in Craft. So like that would be one motivation to like for a required feature I need, you know? So
yeah, and if you've played with it, then you'll know. That's why it's so nice to like be playing with tech and when you can, you know, I know everybody can't prioritize that, but to me it feels like it should be pretty obvious. So if the question is, you know, at what point do you decide it's time to rebuild, I'm hoping for your sake that answer is very clear. It's not like, oh, I'm totally muddy. I just don't know if this other stack would be better. I think when you make the decision, you'll know.
Yeah.
It's obviously going to be better because you have these requirements and you can point and say, look at all these things that are just going to be better. And I also know because I've tried it a little bit and I just know in my bones it's going to be better.
Yeah, you know, you can make a list like hard to do in current stack, new stack. How do those things change? You know, deployment, internationalization, DevX speed, authoring speed, or something. Like you could just make a little chart, like a table, like a 5 by 3 table, and list out the features or the things you're trying to get out of the new thing, and then list the problems you're encountering in the current thing, and then how the new thing is good, and then shop that around, you know? So, active community is a big one. Like, you know, I don't want to use something that's dead. So, you know, that's, you know, Rails is one of those ones where it's like on the fence for me. Like, you know, it does have an active community. There's a lot of people who made Rails apps. And so they're all, you know, there's good people still around. Kind of, right? Like, yeah, right. So,
right. I don't even know what to say about that one. You know, like I never was really a part of it, despite using it for so long. You know, like this is maybe it's just my personality or whatever, but in no part of my body was I'm like, I would like to go to a Rails conf. That sounds fun.
Yeah,
it's just is not my people or something. I don't
right. Yeah.
Like even though close, you know, like not a million miles away, because I like Yehuda, he's cool, you know.
I think the network effect is good though. It's like how many brains are on this problem set, you know, like I'm in a chat with a bunch of people, Web Components community group, right? It's open, people can join it. Like how many people are like in this, like how many brains can be applied to this problem? Like, oh, I'm having a problem with shadow roots, blah blah blah. Like, could I get a response? Can I get like some feedback? You know, I think like that's a very useful metric in deciding on technology. But what you decide today and what's going to be true in 20 years is different, man. I mean, you know, Rails was a solid pick in 2011, you know. Now, I don't know, man. They just had a Rails conf, so... Unfortunately,
I feel like I crapped on it harder than I should have because I really don't care, and it does provide a ton of value, and it has that same kind of vibe of WordPress. It's like, it's got off. Yeah, it does. Yeah. It super does. Yeah.
No, it's got the pieces you need. It's built for application development. But so, yeah. On that note, the DHH.
I know you're
occasionally the bad guy. Occasionally the bad guy on the internet, right? Internet's bad guy. I'm not a fan anymore, but I do unfortunately think he's
makes
on
good technology choices sometimes.
Good software decisions, and that's where now I'm questioning a lot about my life. But he has this new thing, Omarchy. It's like a Linux build that's built for developers. It's based on Arch Linux, and God, it's compelling. And I'm just like, dang it, dude, I don't want to switch operating systems. I just switched back to Mac. I'm happy. Like all my shit works. All my iCloud backs up. I'm fine.
Oh my God,
you know?
if Dave
like,
goes Linux, that would be wild to me.
dude, I don't know though. Anyway, we'll see. Liquid Glass better impress me.
No, it might
Apparently
push
it's got
you
a
away.
4-day lifespan. Yeah.
No.
There were just things about it where the DevX, like everything's just windows and they all look the same, and I don't have to think about it. Like that's like visual clutter that is like, whoa.
It
That's
does
like
seem like if I did
ADHD
it, it would be
spikes. Yeah.
just because there's nothing to it. It's 2 panels, and one of them's your code editor and one of them's your browser, which I understand is how we spend our days, but it seemed a little. I like my little bells and whistles and little apps and stuff.
Yeah, I have 12 windows stacked weirdly with the notification floating that I have a meeting in 3 minutes. So like, I'm happy. No, I'm not. I'm not happy. I'm not. This isn't fun. Anyway, I don't know what I'll do, man. So I'm not jumping ship anytime soon. I just need to focus on the job at hand, not reprogram my life. So, all right. On that note, good luck in making your decision. I can't have my boss hear this. So we hope you find a pathway forward.
It's actually, now that I think about it, a little concerning that you even questioning your stack would be your boss would be mad about
level
that?
Anger situation. Yeah. Now we got to know who it is. Let's see here. Who could it be?
You analyze. You look at the IP address again.
What if it's like Ian Frost and he hates design systems? You know, it's like he's just over it. Just like, dude, if I write another component, I'm out, bro. You know, like what if, right?
Right.
Huh. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's
a little too funny.
All right. Thank you, dear listener, for downloading this in your pocket. Shared it up. That's how people find out about the show. Follow us over on the good ones, Mastodon, Blue Sky. And then apparently we forgot to say something at the end of the show. So I want to make sure we say it this time. But join us in the Discord, patreon.com/ChopTalkShow. And Chris, did you have anything else you'd like to say?
ChopTalkShow.com.